Good day. In this discussion video, we will talk about speech acts according to Austin. We often hear this quote, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," telling us that no word can hurt us in the same way that sticks and stones may cause us pain when hurled at us. Given this premise, are we saying that words do not really have an effect on us? Or do we mean that we have the power to choose which word can have an influence on us? Definitely, for our well-being, we go for the latter. That is, we do not allow words, especially the negative ones, to affect the way we regard ourselves. So what can words do then? We cannot deny that words have meanings that can affect us or even prompt us to do or engage in some actions. This will be the point of our discussion. So when can we say that we have truly understood the meaning of a certain word or utterance? We will have to remember that meaning is described in relation to the following. Number one, its linguistic conventions correlated with the words or sentences. Number two, the situation where the speaker actually says something to the hearer and the associated intentions of the speaker. So this means that it will not suffice just to be satisfied with the dictionary meaning of a certain word. There are other things that we will have to consider for us to truly say that we have understood the meaning of a certain utterance or a certain statement. People use language with communicative intentions, whose meaning should be correctly understood or perceived. Speech acts, according to Austin, are acts of communication that express those intentions. Austin presented and explained the speech act theory, where he said a speech can be divided into three different smaller acts, namely locutionary act, illocutionary act, and perlocutionary act. Locutionary act is the act of performing words into utterances that make sense in a language with correct grammar and pronunciation. This is the part of an utterance which is the thing which is actually being said. In other words, the act of producing sounds that have meaning is a locutionary act. Further, Austin said that locutionary acts include the following. One is phonetic acts, or the acts of pronouncing sounds. This may also include the points of articulation used in pronouncing the different sounds of different letters. Second is phatic acts, or acts of uttering words or sentences in accordance with the phonological and syntactic rules of the language to which they belong. The region or the country and its syntax or grammar may have an influence on the way these words or sentences are uttered. Third is the rhetoric acts. These are acts of uttering a sentence with sense and more or less definite reference. The reference is clearly understood by most people using that particular utterance or hearing that particular utterance. An example of this would be any utterance or sentence that would talk about a certain object or a person. For example, the baby is flying or the sky is blue. Easily, the meaning of those sentences can be understood. Another example would be the statement, environmental problem is aggravated by people's indifference. The syntax of this statement tells us that the problem is still ongoing, and the reference to the environment is clearly understood because we all understand what's happening to the environment at the moment. The speech act theory also talks about the illocutionary act. This refers to the intended communicative action by the speaker bound to certain conventions. Note that the illocutionary act can only be achieved if there is convention in a society that makes it possible. Unlike locutionary acts, illocutionary acts have a force. and is valid and complete. For example, if somebody will say it is hot in here, locutionary would just be the meaning of that statement regarding the temperature in the place or in the room. However, a locutionary act would have the communicative action intended by the speaker. It could mean that the one who's saying that is telling the other people in the room to open the window or turn on the fans. And so that communicative action was conveyed through the locutionary act or the statement, but its intended meaning has something to do with something else that the interlocutors will have to do. Austin classified the illocutionary acts into 5. Please note that there is already another version of this, but I am presenting only the ones given by Austin. So these are the classifications. One is the vindictives, where one can exercise judgment. Another is exercitive, or where one can exert influence or exercise power. Third is commissive, or to assume obligation or declare intention. Number 4 is behabitive, or adopt an attitude or express feeling. And the fifth is expositive, which clarify reasons, arguments, or communications. By these distinctions, Austin shows that unlike elocutionary acts, illocutionary acts have a force. And unlike perlocutionary acts, illocutionary acts are valid and complete without being reduced to the effect of it. The last act in the speech act theory is perlocutionary act. This is the effect that an utterance has on the thoughts, feelings, or attitude of the listener. Austin says that in uttering a sentence, the speaker performs an illocutionary act of having a certain force, which is different from the locutionary act of uttering the sentence, which is to have a meaning, and also from the perlocutionary act performed by uttering the sentence, which is to achieve certain effects. In other words, perlocutionary acts are the effect achieved by the speech act. For example, when someone says it is raining, the perlocutionary part of the utterance will manifest itself if following that proclamation someone takes an umbrella with him. To further illustrate, the sentence "don't do that" will show the following. The locutionary act is the meaning of the words in that sentence. The illocutionary act is the attempt to warn someone. And the perlocutionary act is that someone should not be doing that. Referring back to the sentence, "It is hot in here," the meaning of each word in that sentence would be the locutionary act. The intention to inform the other people in the room to do something about it would be the illocutionary act. And actually opening the windows or turning on the fans would be the perlocutionary act based on the given sentence. So for your exam or your output, as a group, you will role play a scenario showing people's attitude or behavior and utterances in the following settings: 1 school, 2 church, 3 social event. Afterward, discuss how the different speech acts were applied and how they can affect effective communication. Video the role-playing and the discussion. You may use a PowerPoint or visuals in your discussion. There are also apps that you can use to video your presentation. You can use Canva, Flipgrid, Screencastify, or whatever is available to you. Good luck on your exam.